One summer's evening, the engines were idling in Tidmar's sheds when Sir Topham Hatt arrived. "There's an important goods train that needs to be delivered to the other railway tonight. Henry, I want you to take the train straight away." "But sir," Henry asked, "who will look after the flying kipper?" "Edward could do it," suggested Thomas. "Yes," Percy chimed in. "Edward knows how to do everything." Edward chuckled. "Well, I wouldn't say I know how to do everything, but I'd be happy to help, sir." "Very well, Edward. I trust you will do a good job." And Sir Topham Hatt drove away. "You can keep your smelly fish," laughed Gordon. "You'd never see me pulling such a dirty goods train." Edward smiled. "I'm just happy to be useful, Gordon, even if it means doing something I'd never done before. Speaking of, would you mind telling me how to pull the kipper, Henry?" "Don't be silly, Edward. I haven't got time to hang around here. I've got a train to take. Besides, you're experienced. You'll figure it out on your own." Henry puffed away, leaving Edward feeling rather concerned. "I certainly hope I can," he wished. Late that night, Edward arrived at the docks to collect the flying kipper. "We'll need a few extra vans for tonight," said the dock foreman. "Please fetch some from the sidings." But Henry hadn't told Edward which vans were needed for the kipper, so the old engine took a long time finding them, and by the time he was able to leave, it was very late indeed. Later, Edward arrived at his station to drop off some crates of fish. James was collecting the night mail nearby. "Phew! Any more fish on that train and you'll need 2 washdowns to get rid of the smell." "Well, it's all part of the job, I suppose. Would you mind helping me up the hill, James? The train's a bit heavier than I expected and I'm already running a bit late." "Me? I'll pull a fish train? Blech! Don't be ridiculous. Besides, if you could catch up to me running away, you can make up the time when you're down." James snorted away, leaving Edward to tackle the hill on his own. Edward tried his hardest, but the train was too heavy. His driver backed down to the bottom of the hill and uncoupled the last few vans. After taking the first few vans over the hill, Edward returned to collect the others, but now he was later than ever. Edward worked hard to make up for lost time, making his deliveries as fast as he could, but his hurrying was using a lot of water. At last he arrived at the final station. Gordon was there with the Midnight Express. "For someone who tries to be on time, you're rather behind schedule, Edward." "Well, as always, I made it in the end, Gordon, but I could really use a nice long drink. The water tower here is out of order, so would you mind telling me where the nearest one is?" "I haven't got time to help you, Edward. I've got a train to pull and a well-earned rest when I'm done. And besides, you're clever enough to find a tower on your own." Then he wheeshed away. "Thanks for the help," sighed Edward. Edward looked all along the main line for a water tower, but couldn't find one anywhere. And soon he ground to a halt on the main line. His driver phoned for help, and Boko arrived to take Edward to his station for a drink. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting for him. "What's happened to you, Edward? Not only was the kipper late, but you went and stranded yourself on the main line." "I'm sorry, sir. I did try to be on time, but all the other engines thought I could manage on my own. So they didn't ask me when I asked for it, so I started late and had to rush, which ran my tank dry." Sir Topham Hatt was cross, and spoke sternly to the big engines that night in the sheds. "Edward may be wise, but that doesn't mean he can do everything on his own. You 3 should have helped him out when he needed it. You should know that by now." "Yes, sir. We're sorry, sir." "And?" "We're sorry, Edward," sighed the big engines. "I should think so," thundered Sir Topham Hatt, "because you'll all be taking extra goods trains for a whole month." The 3 big engines gasped. "Gordon, you'll start tonight with the kipper." Gordon spluttered. "The flying kipper, but sir, Gordon, that's an order." And Sir Topham Hatt walked away. "Well, it looks like I will catch you pulling a dirty goods train after all, Gordon," laughed Edward. Gordon just groaned.